Hey good people, and welcome back to the channel. On last week, instead of doing a traditional recap and review for episode 10, I gave you fine folks 10 reasons why you should treat episode 10 like a bill collector and avoid it. Well, this week is no different, and because of that, I'm going to give you another 10 reasons why you should treat episode 11 of Married at First Sight Nashville like a bill collector and avoid it. And it will be my goal to make this review more entertaining than tonight's episode was. So without any further delay, let's jump right in. At number 10, episode 11 marks the couple's 1 month anniversary. Yet I felt like some of the couple's activities were kind of random and lacked romantic chemistry. For example, Jasmine and Eris spend a date night going to a rage room, and there's absolutely nothing more romantic than breaking things with the person that you're legally married to but refuse to have sex with. Kirsten and Shaq go skating for their date night, and while they initially appear to be happy while holding hands, reality sinks in and they begin to talk about their progress on the show. Kirsten accuses Shaq of not being around long enough, and she claims that they have a lifetime to get to know one another. And Shaq replies by saying that the devil is a lie. Overall, though only 1 month anniversary date that was worth watching was Nicole and Chris's. But circling back to Kirsten and Shaq, we move on to number 9, where there's a scene showing Kirsten meeting with her friend at the spa, and they talk about Kirsten's experience being married to brother Shaq. Kirsten starts the conversation off by claiming that it takes time to get to know her and for her to be vulnerable. But she then complains that Shaq is the holdup because he's not giving her any attention after she essentially rejects him. And in my opinion, Kirsten is more nutty than squirrel doo-doo. I don't care how attractive Kirsten is or how much junk in the trunk she may have. No guy in his right mind is going to chase after her, especially if he knows that she has no interest in him or if she's not giving him any choosing signals. Sadly, this is roughly the 15th time she's mentioned how slow she is to open up, and it's getting pretty old by this point. At number 8, we get a scene of Nicole's father giving Chris a good old pep talk. And by this time, it's pretty clear who wears the pants in the relationship. And Nicole's father notices this and tries to tell Chris not to be so codependent on Nicole. Nicole's father even goes as far as to say that Chris needs that good old BDE, which is something that guys whom I know usually don't say to one another. But Nicole's father has a point. Up until this point in the marriage, Chris really hasn't shown the ability to lead Nicole, and if the trends tell us anything about Chris, then we know that Chris will continue to go along with whatever Nicole wants, unless he cries and she caves into whatever he wants. Either way, Nicole's father wasted his time trying to school Chris. At number 7, we get a scene of Nicole and Chris having a double date with Gina and Clint, and they go on this redneck comedy bus tour. Now, if you ever seen Def Comedy Jam, Comic View, or Wildin' Out, then just know that this comedy show was nothing like those events. Hell, it wasn't even a show that I would go to if I had free tickets, because the jokes weren't funny to say the least. The only silver lining in this scene was seeing all the faces that Clint was making at the jokes. Clint continues to be the MVP for this season because he is not only brutally honest, but he's sure to show you how he really feels about something. At number 6, we get a scene of Eris meeting with his friend Harold and telling Harold about his issues with Jasmine. The first thing Harold tells Eris is how crazy it is to be married to somebody like Jasmine and not want to have sex. Eris doesn't seem to think it's crazy, but I gotta agree with Harold, and I'll even go a step further in saying that most guys that I know would gladly smash somebody like Jasmine if given the chance. Hell, I could tell Harold was about to ask Eris if Eris could tag him in whenever Jasmine has an itch that needs scratching, if you get my drift. But by this time, it's clear that Eris has politely placed Jasmine in the friend zone, and there's no hope of her getting out. At number 5, we have several scenes showing Gina and Clint going along to get along. And I gotta keep it real with these two. There is zero romantic chemistry between them, and it looks like they're just fulfilling their obligation to film scenes. Now don't get me wrong, it's nice to see them getting along, but they aren't making any progress, which makes me question why they're even wasting their time. At number 4, we get the 1 month anniversary scene with Jasmine and Eris. They have a nice dinner in the outdoors, but instead of talking about happy times, they talk about their issues. Well, let me correct myself. Eris airs out the issues that he has in their marriage, in a roundabout way, of course. He tells Jasmine to her face that if only they wait until after decision day to have sex, then a huge weight will be lifted off of his shoulders. And Jasmine tried to ask Eris how he would feel about increasing their level of overall intimacy. But come on now, Eris deep down wants nothing to do with this girl. What he failed to tell Jasmine to her face is that he doesn't want her to get too emotionally attached before he asks for a divorce. And once again, I gotta call Eris out for being trash and for wasting Jasmine's time. If you like seeing a scumbag like Eris dog out somebody like Jasmine, just for the hell of it, then you will love this scene. If you don't, then don't even bother wasting your time watching it. At number 3, Negative Nicole makes her return as Chris and Nicole are having a date. Now I get it, nobody's perfect and everybody has their issues. But for this entire season, Chris and Nicole's only legitimate issue is the resurgence of Negative Nicole, which gets a little boring from a storytelling perspective after a while. At number 2, towards the end of the episode, all the couples meet up to catch up on their progress 1 month in. What I got from this scene is that Chris and Nicole were the perfect couple, trying to give the other failing couples compliments and constructive criticism. It was a little painful to watch some of these cast members pretend to like one another, and it was a little awkward seeing some of the cast members resist the urge to keep it real for the group. To me, the scene was a huge waste of time. And at number 1, Shaq and Kirsten finally talk about the elephant in the room, but the conversation goes nowhere. Shaq makes excellent points in that Kirsten wants things in their marriage to happen on her time instead of naturally. I think that this conversation would have been meaningful if Kirsten hadn't checked out already. But again, this is another scene that was a huge waste of time because we all know that it goes nowhere. But this marks the end of my review. If you have any questions or comments related to the video or episode 11, then feel free to leave them below in the comment section and I'll reply to everybody. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.